Hey everybody, Howard here with Funk Guitar Basics. This is lesson number 2 in the series. And before I get into this, I'm in standard tuning, of course, but I was asked if I would explain a bit about getting a nice little funk tone. Of course, there's more than one funk tone, but for the most part, you want a very clean setting on your amp and you want a nice, bright, crisp sound. And that's going to depend on what kind of pickups you're using, what guitar you're playing, and so on. Now I'm playing a Tele, and so I've got my pickup selector in the middle position to capture both pickups. But of course, if you're using a humbucker pickup, you'll probably want to be on the bridge position, okay? In any event, you want a nice bright tone. I'm running through an Orange Crush 20 RT practice amp, and I've got the bass completely rolled off, actually. I've got the mids at 12 o'clock, and I've got the treble at about, 9 or 10 o'clock, right? So I've got this nice... And I've got a little bit of chorusing on it, which you can probably hear. It's not a ton, but it's enough to give it a little kind of cool 70s sweep, if you know what I mean, okay? So I'm just going to go ahead and play the riff for you. Again, this is number 2 in the series, and then we're going to slow the whole thing down and take it through bit by bit, including all the strumming and percussive hitting and all the rest of it, okay? So here we go. All right, so let's dive right in. As a note, this can be combined with the first lesson, okay? They're both in the same key, basically the same pocket and the same groove, and that's the idea behind this series until we branch off into a little bit of funk rock and all that, okay? So anyway, again, there's a bit of muting. It's a great workout for muting, rhythm playing, your left hand and your right hand, okay? So the first thing we have is this. All right, so what I'm doing there is a bit of muting back here. And that's a down, down, up, again, playing inside the groove, inside the pocket. And then using my third finger, I'm using the first 3 strings at the 7th fret, sliding to the 9th, come back with your first finger to 7 again. So we have, okay, and I'm catching that with an upstroke, the last one, down, down, up, down, up. I think that's best, again, just put you right in the pocket and the groove. Now, this little trick is this is sort of an Al Di Meola-ish thing, and Jeff Beck as well. What you want to do here is you want to approach that with an upstroke first, like that. All right? Again, staying inside the pocket. And then we're forming a partial E9 chord. It's without the root, okay? So that's the 6th fret on the D string, and then barring at the 7th fret, right across the G, the B, and the E strings. You can do it like that if you prefer. I do it like that. It doesn't really matter. But that's a down, up, down, up. So from that E string, up, down, up, up, down, up. So you can see you're just doing this. Okay, so that's the first part of the lick, okay? And then we want to do it again, but just that much of it. And then we've got this single note line. I'm muting a little bit, but you don't have to mute a lot. Either way, it's going to sound good. And I think alternate picking is best for that, starting with a downstroke. And that's the whole riff, okay? Want to do that 4 times, and on the 4th time, instead of playing, we're going to to change that last note to a B flat, the 6th fret on the 6th string. And that's going to walk us into an A7 chord. Okay? So once we get to the A7 chord, we're playing this groove. Okay? So there's a lot of percussive muting going on here. The hand is just more or less constantly doing that, right? So you notice I'm just doing down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. There's 2 mutes in between each chord. That's the most important thing to wrap your head around. And again, just releasing the pressure on that A7 chord so that we get that nice percussive mute off of the strings. Okay, now we're coming up here and forming that 9th shape again, but in this case it would be an A9. But again, we're playing it just like that. 11 on the D string, and then 12, 12, 12 on the G, B, and E strings, right? Again, I play it like that, but feel free to play it any way you want. And we're going to play this. So we're sliding a half step. Sliding a half step below the chord from the 10th fret, 11, 11, 11, up to the chord I just mentioned, okay? So we're sliding, and you can hear that mute right there. And that's followed by 2 upstrokes. But again, your hand is just doing this. So if we put that together nice and slowly, we have... Then we take it down a whole step to G7. Back to A. And then once again at G, but one time. And then we come all the way down here to F7, and we're going to play F7, F sharp 7, and finally park it on G7. Very Jeff Beck, if you will, okay? So what that is... Right, so you can see it's this constant motion like this, right? But in this case, for this particular syncopation, there's only one percussive hit in between the chords. Let me do that nice and slow. So you can see the strumming emotion in there. Up, 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 down. That way, once again, as I mentioned in the first lesson, you're always playing in the pocket. And that's the most important thing when you're playing these syncopated funk rhythms. You don't want to get on the other side of the coin, so to speak, right? You just want to keep it together. So here's the whole thing, nice and slow. As I say, you can loop that, or you can just combine it with the first lesson as well, okay, and have a nice funk sort of song format, if you will, to practice your funk rhythms, okay? So there you go with Funk Guitar Basics, lesson number 2 in the series. I hope you enjoyed it, and I shall see you guys in the next video.